applies to squad. It's no change from what it is at platoon level, company level. It just goes into big picture at the level you're at. The more finer at the squad level, it's a lot more detailed versus at a platoon or a company or a battalion. Those operators are a lot less vague so that commanders at those next levels can develop their own plan. Action and prepping, warning order, conditions, using a squad with a all MTOE and simulated combat environment with weather conditions. We're all indoors doing this online, okay? So the first thing we're discuss is TLPs, and we'll need to talk about leadership, okay? Leadership. Span of control is 3 to 5 by Army due to the fact that if you have less than 3, you tend to micromanage. If you have more than 5, you tend to loosen the reins and you lose control, and then you end up being a boss versus a leader. A leader, you have the influence. You want to give them a purpose, direction, and motivation to accomplish their task, and you give them their expectations, exactly what they need to do to accomplish the mission or their task. So you always give that task and purpose. Okay. Provide purpose, direction, motivation. Provide clear task condition standards with a time hack when you want it done. Squad leader, Alpha Team and Bravo, teamwork is teamwork. And when you come to platoon level, it's going to be PL, platoon sergeant, and squad leaders all work together at the platoon level, but squad leaders also have to have that bond with their team leaders so that they work together to accomplish the mission. Okay, principles patrolling. What are principles patrolling? Can anyone answer that for me?
Simplicity is one of them, right? No Sergeant Security.
For principles patrolling? Yes. Security is one of them. There's 5 of them. I'll give you a clue.
Common sense.
Common sense. Okay.
Planning.
Planning. Okay. Control. And the major one, planning, right? Okay. Which of the 5 principles of control do you use when doing a patrol?
All of them.
All of them, right? Okay. Where's your principles of patrolling? Right there. Okay. What is shooting procedures?
Hey, come on. This is an interactive class. We've gone over this before. That you guys should know this stuff.
Oh, receive order.
Say again?
Receive an order is the first one.
Order? Okay.
Issue a warno.
Issue order? Okay.
Make a tentative plan.
Make a tentative plan? Okay.
Initiate movement.
Okay.
Recon.
Conduct reconnaissance?
Completing the plan.
Okay. Was after completing the plan, what do you got to do then?
Issue the order.
Issue order. And then once you issue order, then what?
Supervise and adapt.
Yep, supervise and refine, right? Mm-hmm.
Hey, a lot of lieutenants jump to number 8. Don't be like that.
Okay. The reason we have civilian procedures is so that you can utilize the max available time for planning, especially when you're in a condensed timeline. So the more you know this, the better effective planning and preparation you'll have for your unit or your operation, and and have a better plan. Okay. The sequence of steps in TLPs is not rigorous. Leaders can modify. You don't have to do it in order. Modify sequence to meet the mission situation and available time. Some steps are done concurrently while others may go on continuously throughout the operation. Normally, the first three steps: receive a mission, issue a warning order, make a tentative plan of the TLP occur in that order. So basically 4 through 8, you're constantly doing and you're refining. But the first 3 got to be in the right order.
Hey, man, sorry. Can we open it up to the classroom to ask them, like, which one do they struggle with, or which one do they need more help?
Yep.
Questions?
Go ahead, sir.
Well, what do y'all have?
Warnos, I think, is a big one, sir.
Who's that?
Barnes.
What about the Warno?
So a lot of people don't know the difference between the information that goes in the Warno and the information that goes in the Opor and what the difference is.
Okay. So what is it?
Warno includes the 5 Ws, right?
All of them? Some of them?
All of them?
That's as much as you got.
Yeah, one is just like the basic information you need to get your unit moving. And then when you get to the op board, like the full operation order, that's when you give like all the details, as well as like the plan, your plan of action, and all that.
Hey, Master, how important is the warning order when they're executing their lanes?
A warning order, you're not going to get to this level that we're teaching right now. It's going to be more important to get the 5 Ws out and get that task organization out.
Yeah.
So it's crucial because once you receive that mission, you issue that warning order. And so when you do a deep dive warning order, you should give it no later than within 20 minutes of receiving your mission. And be able to produce it no later than 30 minutes, 10 minutes to review what you came up with, and then issue the warning order 30 minutes after. So complete the warning order, 20 minutes, review 10 minutes, and then give it 30 minutes, within 30 minutes.
Yeah, so like an example would be like, hey, Alpha Platoon, we're gonna be a task org here with 4 squads. We're gonna be moving out at time X, whatever it is, and we're gonna conduct an ambush vicinity grid. Boom, go start your initial internal squad TLPs and then prepare to receive the full order at whatever time you're gonna designate. Just make sure you designate time so everybody's on the same sheet. Synchronized clocks, watches too, because some people like to operate, 10 minutes ahead, 5 minutes behind on their watch. So that's kind of an example of giving a brief warning order. It's not all the 5 Ws. It's usually probably 3 or 4 of them. But that's kind of an example.
The big thing, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but the big thing is to get through your TLPs. Like he said, it doesn't have to be in order. And depending on your grader, it just varies on how they're going to grade you. You're not supposed to, but you already know some are going to focus more on one thing than the other. And if they'll give you those hints, right? Decades ago, when I went through we used to call it, it's not CST, it was LDAC. The second we received our mission, our grader did not allow us to talk unless you were the PL, if you were in a key leadership position, you were not allowed to talk. So, given those 12, 16-hour days, it took a toll. So you just have to adjust. You're going to receive a lot of information, but it's how you get through it. And I think what you were referring to there, Barnes, is you're going to receive a ton of information, and what Mass Sergeant and Major Rose are talking about is pushing the information out, be brief, concise, and confident.
So the warning order that I'm teaching you guys, right? If you understand this, you guys will see what you guys can eliminate, and as long as you know the big picture, how a deep dive warning order is, then and once you do it a few times, you'll understand where you can give and what you need to cut and what you need to do for initiation and conducting the operation. And once you give me your op order, because the better warning order you have, the better op order you got. So if you do bay planning, this warning order right here, this is what you're going to do when you're behind friendly lines and you got the time to plan. This warning order is kind of what I'm teaching you guys right now. When you got a frago, then you're looking at a real quick turnaround within 10 minutes of briefing a quick warning order and going over a basic concept and a course of action, or you can start. And that's when you receive your mission, you look at it real fast, and you issue that warning order. You just come up with a hasty concept, and you make a tentative plan. That is how you're going to get after the op order, and that implies your course of action on what direction you want to go. So if I get something like, say, I get an ambush, I'm going to come up and I'm like, okay, Alpha Team or first squad, your security, second, third, your assault 1, assault 2, fourth squad, your 4 by fire. We're conducting an ambush at grid. So, come up with my hasty mission statement. And that has a purpose and a task and a purpose in there. And then, and so that's also my course of action. What we're going to do, we're going to move from here, 1 click north, hit the objective, move 1 click off, back to our new patrol base. That is your tentative plan right now. It doesn't have the fine details. And initiating movement is nothing more than you task ordering your people of what part of the plan they're doing. And someone could be doing rehearsals, doing anything that you need to is considered. You're conducting reconnaissance, you're looking at different imaging, your maps, conducting that shit, real hasty. And then you complete your plan, having your route. Now it has azimuths, it has directions, it has legs on it, it has key terrain that you're crossing. If you got to do an LDA, an LDA is coming up. Where you think the enemy is situated at, what type of the terrain is going to affect you, and then you're going to issue that order. When you issue order, and you're walking through your concept of the operation, your scheme maneuver, you're going to identify friction points and things that you identify, and that's where you're going to refine and go back and correct. And then you're going to step off and do the mission.
Hey, so I can have a quick for a minute.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the big thing, what the SMA is talking about. So yes, you have your initial plan. You can be vague or you can be a little more in depth on your initial plan. As long as you give them something, like say you want second squad to be the assault element on your raid or whatever. But then after you do your reconnaissance, step 5, like, oh shit, they're in the wrong position. So hey, guess what? Third squad, you're going to be the assault element. I mean, it may change. That's why they have that initial recon is important, and then complete the plan happens after you get that recon. You can issue maybe another warning order, but you're not going to have time. But really, you can have a plan going in, but when you actually get that recon, we'll either confirm what you're going to do, or you're going to have to make a change on the fly. So just be aware of that, because no matter whatever operation you do, the enemy always gets a vote. The enemy may be arrayed differently than what the information you've been given or what you find out. So just keep that in mind. So make sure you have a plan that is flexible. Now, if you have your platoon, you've been operating together for a little while, you know who's better at what, and if somebody's in a different position, then they're going to have to, guess what? They're going to have to be, whatever element versus they have to change. So just keep that in mind as you build your plan. And that's why every operation, of all the 6 tactical tasks, always has a recon portion, and then you complete the plan after that. Does that make sense?
So I'm going to go a little bit more detailed into troop team procedures, and I was kind of just spitballing for you guys, a hasty thing. There's a little bit more detail, but don't overthink this. That's what most new person doing when they learn TLP process, learn op orders, and anything like that. They overthink it because it looks like a beast when you're done. Just think, keep it simple, and you'll be fine. And that's people's biggest problems. They overthink op order and planning. So we're going to transition into receive a mission. Okay. What are ways you can receive a mission statement?
Formal op board, Messar?
You can written, right? Oral. And radio, right? Or FBCB2. Okay. Okay. Once you receive a mission, you need to conduct a hasty mission analysis of the higher unit's order utilizing METC. METC is a planning tool that does not have an exact same order dictated on the side. Okay. Oops. Mission. You'll find the mission statement in paragraph 2, usually when you get your mission statement from higher. Remember, as soon as you get the mission statement, plot their locations on the map so you can see the big scenario piece. So basically, adjacent units out there, you would plot their spots. Whenever you come and you get an op order, you see hire's op order, plot everybody's where their location is on the map. So this is how you speed up planning process when it comes to your troop leading procedures, and you can get within that 20 minutes of coming up with a concept. So priority for 1 mission, you get there, you look at that page and plot everyone's location so you see where your friendly units are at, and they'll apply later. You'll be able to see and identify the area. Okay, and then that will also help you understand the AO, the operations environment that you're operating in. Next, enemy situation. Enemy, okay. Is who, what, where. Majority of information is found in paragraph 1 alpha, as well as any attached annexes that's going to give you more detail about the enemy on there. Plot the locations on the map that higher gives you for the enemy. Immediately plot known, unsuspected, or suspected locations on the map. And it provides you situational awareness, and it'll paint you the big picture that you need to see of the enemy's activity. Terrain. Only brief. The major terrain will directly impact your operation. For example, if you got a big hill, you got a creek out there that's en route or in the middle of your area of operation, you want to make sure you identify that, because that'll play later on when you're giving them the terrain analysis out there, and it'll also control your movement when you think about routes. And sometimes terrain will also help you to gain your speed of your movement during your en route to your objective as well, and also plays with enemy. Time is the most important. Backwards plan from your objective to your warning order. Utilize 1/3, 2/3, and determine the available time before SPN. If not stated in higher's order, focus your effort and create a detailed timeline on your warning order to the SP. The only times mentioned after SP are key times and hard times. Initiate planning and preparation timeline is critical to the warning order. Is most important output for a hasty analyst it lets you know the time to plan and prep. So basically, you look at your mission statement that they give you. If they gave you no later than time to be at that ambush, you got to see how long is it going to take me to get to that location? How long do I need? And that would, and 1/3, 2/3. 1/3 is you planning, 2/3 is you executing and giving your subordinates that time for them to plan as well to do all their accomplishment. If you take all their time, and you take that full 30 minutes for your warning order and 3 hours for your planning, and then you pitch that order and gives you 1 hour to get to the objective, then no time for rehearsal. You just kind of wasted your time, and now you're in a crunch and you're not going to execute your plan. Does that make sense? Timeline is going to drive you for your execution. Can anyone tell me the difference between key times and hard times?
Hard times are something that you have to meet, like on that time that was given.
Okay. Hard times, yep. So hard times are given usually from higher, and key times are times that you developed inside your timeline, especially like when you're going to give the op order, when you're going to step off. Okay. The hard times is, if you got to do a link up, or what time you got to hit that objective. Truth. Immediately identify what you have to work with, attachments, detachments, assess availability, and task organization of the squads. Let your subordinate leaders know what they're doing. And that's where I came back to saying, okay, first squad, you have security. Second squad, your assault 1. Assault 2, your third squad. And fourth squad, your support by fire. And then you can, okay? Any questions on that? Okay, civilian considerations, that's when you look at your map and you see if there's any civilians in the area. They'll let you know in higher's order what your ROE is, what buildings you have around.
Master Sergeant, one question.
Yep.
So going back to the truth step,
Yep.
that be the time where you tell your squad leaders to conduct PCCs and PCIs as well?
No, that'll be later on. I mean, this is when you're doing that TC, this is you thinking up top on how you want to get your warning order together. This is you planning right now. What you need to do when you initially get a warning order, receive a mission.
All right.
So you're receiving the mission right now, right? And you're figuring out how to issue that warning order. So you get this and you're doing analysis on this quickly so you can put out and issue a warning order.
All right.
Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Does that make a little bit more sense? This is your thought process and ideas on how to help you quickly receive a mission and what you need to do when you receive that mission and how to attack it.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Now we're going to conduct a hasty analysis of the warning order and what you briefed to your subordinates. After you did that thought process, this is how you're going to do it. Okay. So, initiate a hasty mission analysis in order to give a warning order output to the soldiers. A warning output from step 1 of TLPs. It's important to conduct a hasty analysis quickly. It should take you approximately 20 minutes. The product of their analysis and warning order issued to your subordinates no later than 30 minutes after receiving your op order. Do not withhold information or wait for more information. Arm your subordinates with as much information upcoming mission as possible so they have the time to plan and prepare. Focus on painting the big picture tasks that they have to be accomplished. This includes information on the enemy, natural and higher headquarters plans, and any specific information preparing the unit. Leaders also must pass on any other instructions or information they think will help Spartans prepare for a new mission. Okay, at a minimum, Warner should include a mission of the operation, time, place, issue the op order, units and elements participate in the operation, specific times, specific tasks, timeline operation with detailed focus prior to SP and rehearsals. As more information comes available, issue additional warning if time allows. Any questions on that? So, key thing is 20 minutes. You're doing this hasty. Within 30 minutes, you're issuing that warning order to your troops. Okay. Now we're discuss what you will brief in the warning utilizing a 5-paragraph format. Okay. There's no major roads. There's no real warning order. Like 5 paragraphs. That's just what we use in the Rangers. For officer side of the house, is there a different one?
I don't understand your question.
We use a 5-paragraph warning order to give out the warning order.
I mean, so you can use that. It's the same basic format, but it's just like you said. You start off, yeah, you can use it. You may not have all 5 paragraphs. You may just have like the mission execution, or you should have situation. Mission execution, you're probably not going to have all the information, and your execution won't be complete. But it's getting out. You're going to have 10 minutes, so you can't go through a whole big deal. You're giving people like the down and dirty information that you know as you're there, and then you go forward from there and develop your plan. You give them the important information so they can start their internal TLPs while you finish completing the or doing your orders. That makes sense.
So if you use the 5-paragraph format, you guys will not be wrong. Okay. This is how we teach Ranger students, and how Rangers plan a lot. Okay. So task order. Okay. Describe the organization, forces available, issue headquarters, their command and support relationship. Think in terms of your team missions, assault, support, and fires, security. Do not forget to include attachments, detachments, and assessments availability in your patrol. You could have engineers, working dogs, and CA teams attached to you. You will not have any of that at this time. That is for when you get to the real army, when you have those different attachments like that. Okay. Is anyone confused on attachments, detachments, or troops to task out there? I think I've beaten that up a lot. Okay. The situation. Show a brief map. Okay. So when you showing your situation, you want to orientate. We call it OBTF. Orientate, box, trace, and familiarize. So when it comes to a map, you want to show, or your terrain model you have, you always want to OBTF. And usually if you got that short period of time, you're not having a terrain model, you're going to use your map. And you can always do this. So point to them: north, south, east, west, box. That's nothing more than the grid squares that you're utilizing in the area of operation that you're doing, where you plotted everybody at. Race. Race is nothing more than using roads or major trails that have names on them, so you can close in the gap of the area that you're moving in. So you start big and going smaller. Then also familiarize is major terrain features inside the area of operations that you're doing. And that will that will zoom in your soldiers into the area of operations that you're actioning on. Any questions on that?
Master Sergeant, you said it's called OBTF.
Yep, OBTF.
So orient, box, trace, and what was the F?
Familiarize.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
It's just make some kind of map, whether it be a train on a map on the ground or a paper map. Just some kind of map is all you need.
And all it does is alert the platoon or squad of the actions that where you're patrolling at, so they have an idea. Because people are able to identify, they'll know where they're at, why they're walking on patrol. If they see that major terrain feature, the hilltop, that radio tower, that road, they know where they're at. Okay. Okay, inform of any major weather or terrain in there that was pulled from higher's order. Okay. And that's where, right here. Enemy description and location. Okay. You're going to let them know the locations of the enemy, including who, what, and where. Provide necessary information and effects and plan the patrol. So right now, all you're saying is what enemies out there in the area, and you're not giving you're just giving the basics that came from higher. Finally, provide locations and show them on the map where you plotted your friendly locations at into their location. Okay, attachments, detachments. Unless if you already talked about them in your task order, you don't have to mention them. But say you move an extra 249 assault gunner from the assault team to support by fire because you want another gun up there. That's a detachment from your first squad to your fourth squad. You would have to say that during that time period. So if you want more firepower on the ambush line, that's just an example.
So, Master,
Yep.
Even though it's coming from your own platoon, it's still considered a detachment.
Yes, because that's alerting the squad leader to know that he has an extra person inside his element. Okay. Okay. True leading procedures, step 2. Okay. Mission statement. More or less from paragraph 3. You always got to do hires up 2 levels. So if you're at the platoon level, you're doing company and battalion. Okay. 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 You make a tenant plan once you issued the warning order. Oh, hold on, I messed up. Thing. Okay, mission statement execution. The concept of the operation. You start from the SP, mission complete, brief, general directions, distance, time, and travel, and key activities. Okay, so what that means is we're stepping up from here at this grid. We'll move 1K north to our objective. We'll conduct an ambush, and then our next leg will be to our patrol base, which is another K. We'll travel generally north, and we'll travel in a wedge formation, and any key terrain seeing this hill on our left or right It's really general and it's real quick concept. Task supporting units focus on planning preparation prior to route, fires, CASEVAC terrain model, emphasis, TANs, and coordination. So this is you telling first squad, your security, you're in the lead. I want you to come up with the routes and build a terrain model. I want every squad to identify an EPW team and first aid leader team. Platoon sergeant, come up with the CASEVAC plan. Gun team, I want you to do gun drills. So you're giving out how you want to accomplish your TLPs during your task supporting units, and how you're going to get after the planning process. Okay, coordinating instructions, ETL lines, SP, flight guidance, and packing list. So you can have the platoon sergeant post the packing list for everyone to see what we want on there, especially if there's especially needs, especially demo, anything like that, anything new to the packing list to ensure your backup and how much ammo you have for each person. So it's cross-loaded. Any questions on this? And that basically is a warning order, like the 5 paragraphs right there. At the end of this is your warning order complete. Do we have any questions on the warning order? Are we good? I can't see you guys, so.
So the warning order wouldn't take as long as like the Opord, as the Opord briefs that we gave. It'd be more like a condensed version.
Yes.
Okay.
Because all you're doing is you're trying to prep and give everyone a heads up what's going on. This is why it only takes 20 minutes to plan, because a lot of it's getting pulled right from the higher's order with that quick assessment of your location, and the hardest thing is probably your timeline that you're going to develop an issue.
Matt Sergeant, when doing the warning order compared to the Opord, just a generalization of what's going on, just so they have the straightforward idea of where we're going.
Yes, that's all it is. And what they need to do to prep and plan for the timeline, because you can always move out from this due to your timeline. So coordinate instructions, that's when you're giving out your planning timeline and your timeline to your objective as well.
Okay.
So just so you guys can put it into context, a Master Sergeant, how much time, if they're given an hour to plan, how much time, when should they be briefing their warning order after they receive the mission? How much time do they have to look at it and make their tentative plan before they brief their warning order?
I would say about 15 minutes.
Yeah, or less.
Or less.
Time to do the rest of it, yeah.
Because how long is it really going to take you to plot everything, right? Or someone goes through the op order, starts calling off grids while someone plots. If someone's writing down all the grids, right? We hand you the op order. Someone sits there, okay, objective, Alpha Company, they're at this grid. Bravo Company's at this grid. Or first platoon's at this grid, second platoon's at this grid, hires at this grid, battalion's there. Our objectives at this grid. Enemy is at this grid and what they are, and you're labeling. So someone's jotting all these things down because you're scheming through the op order. You're not reading the content yet. You're automatically plotting everything you need to do. Then you go back and you refine, and that's when you start doing your Met TC analysis on there, because you're doing from, okay, we're SPing from here, get that grid. We're getting here. You know you're generally traveling either south, north, east, or west, because that's all you're going to give in your concept for general directions and distance. How far is that? And any key terrain that you can see that's named hilltops, marked hilltops out there, or a valley or a creek or anything like that, or a major road. That make a little bit more sense to you guys?
Yes, that was more helpful.
Is anyone completely lost at this time?
So for this water like this, well, this is something we disseminate to our squad leaders, and then they disseminate it to their team leaders and so on. And we are bringing people in and briefing people, correct?
What was that?
This is something that gets disseminated to our squad leaders, and then they disseminate to the team again, correct?
There's two ways you can brief. Okay, if you're in a bay and remember how we had bay planning last fall? And you had everybody there?
Yes.
You can brief it that way. If you're in a patrol base, then yes, you bring all your squad leaders in, and you can potentially bring in your Bravo team leaders. So then you can knock out your squad at the same time, or you can do just your squad leaders, and then they brief each of their team leaders, then their team leaders brief their fire teams.
Roger. Understood.
Okay. If no more questions on warning order, I know that was the big one out there, that people didn't understand what information goes into the op order. So, warning order. So, and this slide deck is all out there for you guys. Okay. You guys know where to find this, right?
This is located in Teams under your documents.
Yep. Okay.
Also, Master Sergeant, one more quick question. So when we have a time hack of, let's say, 1 hour, we have approximately 15 minutes to go through this whole thing. Would it be smart to choose a cadet to do all the plotting by itself?
Yeah.
Get that task on the side, because I know that takes a while to do.
So using your headquarters element, right, inside a platoon, you have your platoon sergeant, you have your PL, you have your medic, you have your FO, and you can always pull someone off the line, especially your alpha team leader from lead squad, whoever's going to be in the lead. And you're basically looking at everything. You're going, someone's taking that transportation page, someone's looking at service support, and you break down a quick warning order as a group, and you guys talk about that as how we're going to attack this op order real quick. Nothing is long-winded. It's one-sided, at this time. So remember, in leadership, as leader, if you're in lead, take lead. And when you, as a PL, you get this op order, you tell the platoon sergeant, hey, you got sustainment and you got a CASEVAC plan. Like in RTO, you have command signal. Okay, and so everyone has that piece. Okay, alpha team leader, hey, prepare to copy these grids, and I want you to plot them on the map and everything like that. And then you do your analysis, and you're looking around at everything and coming up with your concept. You pull and you make that mission statement. That mission statement, you got to pull up higher and the two higher level, and then create your own, making sure you have a task and a purpose.
All right.
Hey, Master.
Yes, sir.
So with paragraph 4 and paragraph 5, correct me if I'm wrong, but it'll tend to be the same with these lanes unless it's different. Then it'll be dictated on the order, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So a lot of it, your first planning that you guys do will be your long one. And after that, you're working off fragos. And your sustainment, it could be no change, but that's working from fragos and not warning order and op orders.
So, Master, when we're working off of those for fragos, and if there's
Uh-huh.
no change in those sections, when we're briefing the warning order, can we just say like command and control, no change, or do we have to simply state the entire thing again?
So during the warning order, it's more of you, you know, hey, make sure everyone has their 2 MREs. Make sure everyone has 4 quarts of water. You know, make sure everybody has 210 of 5.56. Make sure each 240 has 900 rounds. Make sure each 249 has a minimum of 600 rounds. And so that's letting them know they need a cross load if need be. And that's why you give it to the platoon sergeant so he can check all those classes, why he's looking at logistics. That's why you're giving logistics guidance to all your personnel.
So when you delegate some of that planning, like giving the RTO command and signal and whatnot, would you have him like plan it and then relay the information back to the PL to brief? Or would the PL delegate the RTO to not only plan but brief as well?
So as a leader, you got to give yourself time so you can do a rehearsal or you give that op order or the warning order. And that's why I said, give yourself 20 minutes. If say you're doing the long TLP process, right? You're doing the long op order, a full-blown op order behind friendly lines. You give yourself 20 minutes to put everything together. Then 10 minutes to consolidate all the information that you gave people to do their information. And then you review it before you brief it to your platoon to make sure it makes sense and you understand what you're talking about.
Okay, that makes sense.
And sometimes, yeah, it might get shorter for you to review and you can't really think because it's in panic mode. Pull the rings back, take a knee, take a breather, and focus to make sure you get the right information out. Don't go into panic mode because, you know, we said 15 minutes. If you need that time, take the time. You got to use common sense. If you're not going to put out anything viable, you just wasted 15 minutes or 10 minutes out there. Do you understand?
That makes sense.
Okay. Just don't second guess yourself. That's what lieutenants do all the time. They second guess what they're going to say versus just putting it out. Okay. Review it and talk. Okay. Have them back brief you what they wrote. Have the platoon sergeant back brief you, or you can have the platoon sergeant brief paragraph 4. You can have the RTO brief the freaks from battalion. You know, you can do that. But at a minimum, the PL will do the mission statement and he'll do the execution piece, the concept operations.
Well, SMI, one point of clarification. So after a warning, people construe the terms back brief and confirmation brief. So at this point, you want them to give you a confirmation brief, like, hey, I completely understand what you just told me. He actually regurgitates back to you what his job is, or what their job, her job is, whoever it is in your team, right? So that's a confirmation brief. They understand the words coming out of your mouth. Back brief is if after they go back and they do their planning, they say, hey, this is how I'm going to accomplish your intent. That's kind of the difference between a confirmation brief and then a back brief. Confirmation brief is done immediately there. A back brief is done a little bit later after they've had time to do their TLPs. Does that make sense? Does anybody not understand this. I know we've repeated this in class, but it's been a while. I just want to make sure everybody understands the difference between a confirmation brief and a back brief. You tracking there, Click? It's giving me a thumbs up. Okay.
Okay. So we good with warning order? I take it that's a good? Okay. Now they'll sit down and they'll start developing their plan. Okay. Okay. Make a tentative plan. Okay. Mission, fully understand the hire's mission, commander's intent, key tasks, terrain, enemy friendly, concept 2 levels up, understand your mission, 5 W's, include assess and specific tasks. Yeah. Leader will analyze a higher headquarters warning order and op order to determine how the unit contributes to a higher headquarters mission. Your mission statement should change from a warning order, but ensure you have good understanding of the company, platoon mission, intent, and concept to remember to consider specific, implied, and assess taskment. Specific tasks are given by the commander. Implied tasks must be performed to accomplish a specific task. Established tasks must be done to accomplish the mission. Understanding hire's mission is critical and goes beyond the simple regard it from hire's order. Simply repeat it from hire's order. A leader must be able to demonstrate understanding by briefing the concept of hires 2 level up. It's a critical known where it fits into the big picture. A mishap or part could affect the entire company. The commander intent is not considered an action specific. It allows initial by subordinate leaders and understood at the lowest level. It is accomplished composed of 2 parts: key tasks, which tells subordinates what to accomplish, not how. The end state, how a commander envisions the battle resolved in relations to terrain and enemy friendlies. Okay, so basically specific tasks, right? What can someone tell me what a specific task is given by the commander?
Like assault objective. Sorry.
Now, is that or is that a implied task? Okay, what's an implied task? What's an implied task for ambush?
Task that you don't have to be told to do. It's something that you should already do.
Yeah. So give me an example of something.
Like a SOP.
SOP, okay. So if you know you have the commander tells you to do an ambush, what is that?
I think that would be a specific task.
Okay. Now, when you got to do an ambush, he's not telling you how to do it, right?
No, he's not.
So what would be a implied task?
Us doing a recon to make sure we survey the area to make sure we can assess the area correctly.
Okay. Doing that leader's recon, right? A support by fire, a security, an assault. right? Those are implied tasks. You guys starting to see that now? What I'm talking about?
Yes, Master Sergeant.
Okay.
Hey, if you ever get confused, just specified is written. It's written down there. Hey, you're going to conduct an ambush. Okay, so I can't do a raid or I can't do an attack. I'm doing an ambush. Also, there's a specified thing for an ambush. Like you're going to do ambush at grid Alpha Bravo 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's where you're going to do it at. So in that area. So those are specified and those are written. If they're written, they're specified. That's an easy way to kind of differentiate between the two. Or spoken and specified.
Okay. 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 So enemy, you with the state mission as focus. Leaders will continue to analyze with the enemy. For small unit operations, leaders need to know about the enemy composition, disposition, and strength, and recent activities. Much of the information comes from higher order. Some information comes from leaders' experience. Leaders determine how the available information applies to their operation on the modern battlefield. The lines between enemy combatives and civilian non-combatives is sometimes unclear. This requires you to understand the law of war, the ROEs, and the local situation. Okay. Composition and strengths. Your analyze must determine the type of vehicle, soldiers, equipment enemy could use against you and his unit. You should be familiar on basic characteristics of the unit platforms and identify. Disposition. Hires order. Squad leader or PL will determine how the enemy is arrayed on the battlefield. Capabilities. Based on the S2 assessment, the enemy doctrine and current location of a leader must determine the enemy's capabilities, and most of the analysts will conduct by a platoon leader. As PL, you must think, how can the enemy hurt me? Where is the enemy vulnerable so I can hurt them? Recent activities. Gain complete understanding of the enemy intentions can be difficult when using doctrine templates composed and disposition unclear. In cases, the enemy recent activities must be understood because you can provide insignificant into his future activities intensities. Situation template. Identify how the enemy positions fighters and arrange weight and results and analyze the terrain weather against the higher headquarters known as SimTep. This is the best estimate on how you think the enemy will fight the objective. So, thoughts and purpose on this. Do you guys understand? So, composition, the strengths and numbers and types, okay? And how will they disrupt? Okay, what's the enemy doing out there? Are they a squad size element? Are they a platoon size element? What are their capabilities? You know, where are they located on the battlefield that will affect you?
Master Sergeant, is disposition like saying they've been taught to hate Americans since the day they were born? They are very aggressive.
So, disposition is where are they at? You know, where do we think they're at on the battlefield? Where have they been traveling at? You know, Are they at a squad? Are they at team? Do they move around in two-man teams, platoon-sized elements?
Okay, that makes sense.
You know, capabilities. What type of weapons are they carrying? You know, do they have a mortar tube in the area? Any other questions on enemy? Okay. This aspect is mission analysis addressing military aspect of terrain. Observe observation and fields of fire, avenues of approach, key terrain, obstacles, cover and concealment. We analyze the terrain. We need to draw conclusions based off the effects of friendly and enemy. Obstacles. An obstacle is any obstruction assigned or employed to disrupt, fix, turn, or block the movement of opposing forces, to impose additional losses in personnel, time, equipment on opposing forces. Obstacles can exist natural and can be man-made, or can be a combination of both. Obstacles include military reinforcement obstacles, such as minefields. What is possible conclusion for the enemy reinforcements? Okay. So obstacles. Tell me some obstacles out there that you can think of that are natural that the enemy could use against us.
Mountain or lake?
Okay.
Water.
Body of water. On how?
Use of the cutoff or what is it? Whenever you corner somebody, if they were able to turn the tides against us, they can use that as a backdrop to corner us.
Okay. And how will we get around there?
Oh. By moving one step forward and not allowing them to corner us into that, and having boats.
So if we identify that, we gotta look for a bypass, right? So that we don't get stuck in those chokeholds. Mountains, you got cliffs, right? Deep draws. So those are things you got to look at. What are some man-made obstacles that the enemy could utilize?
Reinforced fencing.
Say again?
Oh, I said like reinforced fencing or barbed wire fencing of some sort.
Yeah, a fence, right? Constantine wire, putting up a fence line. And then you can always add that in with, if there is a lake, you put on both the bypass. So if you get too close into the lake, they put you in a chokehold and funnel you in. So then you cannot retreat back, right? Set up an ambush that way. Okay. Okay. So right there, we got some waterways, swampy land, and that becomes an obstacle, right? When you're looking at a map, right there, how the enemy could use that. And when you look at METTC and you analyze and you look at this, how are these two obstacles for us walking? How would this hinder us during our movement?
Right, really steep terrain. Starting to the left, you have water that's flowing through valleys.
So on the right, you said what is it?
There's really steep terrain.
Really steep terrain, right? So the enemy has the advantage if he has the high ground, right? So, what about the one to the left? What we have in there? What's that showing us?
So swamps and bodies of water.
Right. So, how does that affect us? Can someone tell me how that affects us? How that affects our movement?
If you move to the right, and you're exposed, but if you move to the left, it's gonna take you a lot longer to get through there.
So, what about our movement? Are we able to move through there quickly?
No, you'd be pretty slow going either way.
Slow movement, right? What in the steep terrain? What's that going to cause our ranks to do? Our formation to do? What happens when a platoon walks up a steep area, a steep hill?
I'd probably get spread out.
What?
I would get more spread out.
Do you get more spread out, or do people get tired and closing up the ranks?
I guess it could be either one.
So, when you're briefing this, how would you brief this that the terrain's going to affect your movement?
You need to make sure that they know if they're going up that steep terrain that they need to maintain their distancing and stuff, and not let their exhaustion get to them.
Okay. And then, how would you brief that you're going to overcome that? Because that's you're at if enemy's likely to hit you in that area, how would you overcome that? And you would brief your during movement how you would do that. Enemy friendly, and how you're going to overcome if the enemy's there.
You have to use your TTPs, what their likely course of action is, and what you're going to do to counteract that.
Yeah. So, we have two. So we're moving from Cyclone Road to Highway 137, and we got to cross through this creek right here. So that's an obstacle, right? So as the platoon moves through, we hit an obstacle, this swamp, and inside this terrain, which is a major terrain feature for us, which is a known obstacle due to terrain. Will be slow movement, so we'll have to spread out. The vegetation is going to be thick, so we might have to go to bounding overwatch, put support by fire until we get through the swamp, and move through that obstacle due to sluggish terrain and maybe 5 meters of for visibility. Because you remember we're using a coca, right? Observations, field of fire. You're not going to be able to see well, right? You got a main avenue approach right when you get out of that swamp. That's pretty close. You got a trail that goes along that swamp as you look at it. So when I look at this, I got to think of a coca, right? I got to look at avenue of approach, my fields of fire, my key terrain out there. I got a hilltop where I know I can move when I get out of that terrain. Does the enemy want that? What does that have for the enemy? Where's the enemy going to be located? Is he going to be in the swamp, or is he going to be on that hill? How's the enemy going to use that terrain to use it as a potential obstacle during movement? These are all the things you do your hasty analysis on. Does that make sense? You guys starting to see that, what I'm talking about? And then can we bypass that so we don't get ourselves stuck in that? Maybe keeping our route away from that shit.
Roger, and there it looks like there's trails in there as well that we take to get around it.
Yeah. Okay. Next, we'll go to avenues approach. Okay. Avenue approach. An avenue approach is an air or ground route that attacking forces of giving size leading to objective or key terrain in a path. Avenue approach includes overland, air, underground avenues. Underground avenues are particularly important in urban operations. What will impose conclusion for high-speed avenue approaches. Okay. What is proposed conclusion? What's a high avenue approach in here?
The highways.
The highway, right? You got that highway 137 right there, right? And then what do we have on the other side, on the left? What is that?
Looks like a clearing that you can move a lot of people through.
I see a lot of trails in there, right? So when you do avenue approaches, right, what does the enemy use for that?
Set in an ambush.
Set up ambushes. What else? If this is our land, right, and we own it, what are we going to use those trails for? What does QRF use those trails for?
Reinforcements.
Reinforcements, right? Who else is going to use these roads? When you're thinking of METTC and we're breaking down, you're doing METTC to each of the letters in ACOCA, right? OA, you got obstacles, you got avenue approaches, key terrain, right? Observation of fire, and concealment, right? So right now we're on A for avenue approach. The enemy uses it for reinforcements, we stated. What else? And an enemy can use it for ambushes because they know the terrain. They know where the choke points are when you put in obstacles on these roads, right? So now we're on, what else is the enemy going to use this for? That we could potentially use against the enemy. I'm thinking sustainment. How does the enemy resupply themselves, right?
Yeah.
And we always attack soft targets, right? So, or the enemy attacks soft targets. So do we, but so you got avenue approaches. So the enemy uses it to resupply themselves, to reinforcements. And so when you look at your enemy, how quickly can they reinforce that objective that you're going to hit? It's based off of how fast are they going to move on Highway 137 versus those trails to the west.
Faster.
Right? On the highway, it's hardball, it's improved road right there, right? Or to our west, it's an intermediate trail. Don't know what the conditions are of that trail, but definitely the enemy is not going to be able to move as fast on that intermediate trail as they would on the hard trail. Okay. Everyone clear on avenue approaches on what you're doing to analyze, to look at it and develop a plan out there. And when you're thinking about avenue approaches on how they go through your thought process. And when you're hitting ejective, how much time do you need on ejective versus getting off because they can reinforce you? Or, okay, my ambush is on this intermediate trail because I know I'm using it, and reinforcements, the hardball road is right there, so I know it's going to come. Okay? Okay, next. Key terrain. Key terrain is located in areas the seizure or retention of efforts are marked advantage, either combatives, right? Terrain adjacent to the area of operation may be key if controlled, if necessary to accomplish the mission. So key terrain, right? So we got an intersection, right? That's key terrain, right? It doesn't have to be natural all the time, but that's key terrain, that T intersection. We also got that draw right there, that ridge line. Okay. To the east, we have a hilltop right off a trail. So and then they fall under obstacle. They fall under, you got avenue approaches to both of these things, and they're easy to identify when moving through your area of operation to identify. Any questions on key terrain? So the enemy sees key terrain just like we see it. It's identified on a map. It's identified on the ground. Key terrain, enemy uses just like we do. They either use it as an ambush or they use it as key terrain as what they're going to hold because they have a major influence on the area of operation that you're fighting in. That intersection, 2 main roads go right there. You got another key intersection to the east as well. And those control the reinforcements into the AO. They also they provide dominance of the area to manage and control. You see how key terrain is an important place? Okay, next is observation fire. Observation fire and is a obstruction assigned or employed to disrupt, fix, or turn or block the movement. Oh shit, my bad. Hold on. Observation is the conditions and weather terrain that permit a force to see the friendly enemy, natural personnel and systems, and key aspects of the environment. A field of fire is an area which a weapon or a group of weapons may cover effectively with fire from a given position. Observation of fields of fire apply to both enemy friendly weapons, leaders, concerns, direct fires, weapons, ability to observe, to mask, and adjust indirect fire. What is possible conclusion for a high ground with observations of fields of fire that dominate the objective? So, fields of fire, right? Okay, if this is your objective, you're on here. How effective is it if you're firing from this area? You're traveling in right here. This is your objective. What are your guys' thoughts on that from attacking from this direction right here?
It's not a very good spot.
Why? How do you guys think your fields of fire would be down in this location down here in the low ground?
It's in a valley. It's down low.
You see a lot of water in there, right? That means it's probably a swampy area, thick vegetation. What would you say your fields of fire would be? Okay, how far do you guys think you could see?
Probably not that far.
Right? You got to think in your head. You got to picture this, and you're drawing a picture for your troops. So how far do you think you would see down there in the swamp area in a thick vegetation location?
I would think that meditation would probably be at max about 5 meters, something like that.
Yeah. So you would state that here because if as far as you can see, as far as you're going to be able to shoot, right? Because you only pull the trigger what you can see. So our fields of fire are roughly around 5 meters inside down in the swampland. So we would want to utilize the higher ground to the south to put plunging fire or fires onto the objective. And when traveling inside the swamps, we would have to travel in a file or in a tight wedge formation, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So, and we would take the distance during there. So you have to let your people know how it affects you guys. Okay. Next, cover and concealment. Okay, cover concealment. What is available in an area of operation? Cover is protection from effective fires. Concealment to protect you from observation, surveillance, terrain that offers cover and concealment, limited field of fire, leaders considering friendly enemy. Someone needs a mute. Although you remember separation of elements, leaders consider the military aspect of terrain together. What would pose concealment from a creek in the surrounding areas by thick vegetation with no little cover, but great concealment? So tell me, what's the difference between cover and concealment? Can someone tell me out there what that is? What's cover?
Cover stops bullets.
Okay, and what's concealment?
Just so you can't be seen.
Concealment, right? So when you look at map, you're looking at the vegetation and you're looking for open areas. So then you're briefing where you'll be exposed and the size of the trees. If you have nothing but tall grass, it's a lot of concealment, but it's not much cover, right? And then big thick woods, probably doesn't have that concealment, but it has nice fat trees that you can walk under, and you have plenty of cover to stop bullets. Okay? So you got to let your soldiers know about that when you're talking about that. Weather. How's weather affect you? Okay? Okay. The 5 military aspects of weather are vision, wind, precipitation, cloud cover, temperature, humidity. Consider the weather effects is especially part of mission analysis. Determine how the weather will affect the visibility, mobility, serviceability of the unit of the enemy. Review the platoon leaders. Review and complete. So you basically just look at how it's going to affect you. Okay. So visibility. As a leader, you must identify critical conclusions about visibility factors such as light, data, fog, smog on the battlefield, observations such as smoke, dust. Consider light data, identifying critical conclusions about beginning, morning, twilight, BMT, sunrise, sunset, and the evening, ENT, moonrise, sunset, and percentage of lume. So You guys understand visibility, how that affects you? So if it's heavy rain outside, how far are you going to be able to see? If you know you got 90% of rain showers coming in, how's that going to affect your movement? How does heavy rain affect your movement?
Well, it'll slow
Slows you down.
Slows you down, but what else does it do for you? What? Okay, someone tell me a positive and someone tell me a negative about heavy rain.
It won't
Positive,
keep
it
you as
keeps down the
easily.
dust.
What was that?
It keeps down the dust.
Keeps down the dust. What else?
It limits what you can do here, so you can move quicker, probably.
You can move quicker, right? Because why? What's the heavy rain going to do?
It drowns out all the noise of you moving through the brush.
Yes. Okay. Okay. But then what's a negative?
Can cut visibility.
Cuts visibility, right? So it also, you can't hear the enemy as well, right? Because it sounds out. So a plus and a plus, plus and a plus makes negative, right? Or whatever that shit is, right? Whatever it helps us, it helps the enemy at the same time. Wind. Oh shit, wrong way. Okay. Wind at significant speed can reduce combat effective of force. Downwind, as a result, blowing dust, smoke, sand, precipitation. The upwind forces usual better visibility, blows wind, sand, dust, rain, snow, can reduce effective communication systems. Strong winds can also hamper effective direct antenna systems, such as antenna. Okay. What else? So tell me a plus for wind and a minus for when we're looking at mission analysis.
A positive for winds could be with the dust and smoke, like can bring up some of the dust, so it'll limit the visibility of our troops as they move from one place to another.
Okay.
And negative could possibly be any kind of support that we might get, like air support, or the possibility of air support if we need it.
Yep. Because the winds are too high, right? So the air goes black. You can't get that aviation up there. It also affects our rounds, the bullets we're shooting, right? So our effective fires won't happen anymore. That's good. Okay. Next, precipitation. Precipitation affects soil trafficability, visibility, functions, may echo optic sites. Heavy precipitation can reduce quality supplies of storage. Heavy snow covers reduce effects in many communications systems as well will degrade effectively many ammunition of the operation. The leader identified critical factors such as that type, amount, and duration of precipitation. So that's why we look at the weather as well. So if we know there's heavy rain, heavy winds, a lot of our systems are not going to work the way they're supposed to. So it affects us, it affects the enemy. So what does the enemy have that's going to get malfunction from the rain? What are we going to have problems with? And what we got to look for? Cloud cover. Cloud cover affects ground operations by limiting illumination and solar heating targeting. Heavy cloud cover degrades many target activation systems, infrared, glide, ammunition, general aviation operations. Heavy cloud cover often canalizes aircraft within the areas of avenues of approach. On final approach of target, dissipating cloud cover can glare the a condition that attacks aircraft may use concealment their approach to targets. Some types of clouds reduce affects radar systems. The leader identifies critical factors about cloud cover, including limit, illumination, and solar heating targets. So again, cloud cover, a lot you can see is what our future Army stuff and our up-to-date technology still can't go against the cloud cover, so we got to understand the basics, and which will degrade our additional assets out there for, especially for our fires inside paragraph 3 under fires that is heavily affected out there. Okay, temperature, humidity. Extreme temperatures, humidity reduces personnel equipment capabilities, may require the use of specific shelters and equipment and temperatures across and over, which targets when targeting back temperatures are nearly equal degrade thermal targeting acquisition systems. The length of crossover time depends on air temperature, soil and vegetables, and cloud cover. Leaders identify critical factors about temperatures, including high, low temperatures, infrared crossover times, and affect smoked chemicals. Some question. Okay, so major thing for high temperatures and humidity, it affects our troops. Okay, it definitely hurts our troops and our speed and our logistics because we need more water as we move. So, hey, we're almost going on like 2 hours right now. So, I don't want to burn you guys out. So, okay, right here, we'll finish this part of the weather. Okay, effects on friendly. Okay, when we look at this right here, right? When our night vision devices affect, how can I take advantage of the limit in illumination, right? Because that we're looking at our loom, right? Where's our loom at? We're at 0%, right? So how good are our night vision going to work with zero loom? Anybody?
You're not going to be able to see as well without the moonlight.
Yep. How does it affect the enemy? Any thoughts out there?
They won't be able to see at all.
Okay. But the best thing about them is they know the area, right? So, okay. Wind. Okay, what's our winds at? 3 to 5 miles per hour, right? Will the wind cause smoke diffusion quickly? What, 5 mile per hour winds? Anyone got the answer to that one?
Maybe not super quick, but it'll do it faster.
But it's not gonna sit still, but it's gonna move a little bit. Okay, 3 to 5 miles per hour wind. It's not that quick. When you start getting to the 10, 12, then the wind's you're throwing smoke grenade and it's moving out. How accurate will your mortar rounds be? 3 to 5. I'll let you guys know. 3 to 5 is not really going to affect an 82 or a 120. It might affect a 40 millimeter 203 round, but not much for a mortar round, depending on how far they're shooting their rounds from. Okay, or we're shooting our rounds. Same effect on the enemy. Okay. Okay, someone look up top. You see the humidity. How will the temperature and humidity affect your unit at the rate of march, and how will the temperature and humidity affect the soldiers and their equipment? You guys see that, right? The high temperature is 74, low temp and 40, 80% chance of rain at nighttime, right? Or, well, the sun sets at 21:17. So you're, yeah, or 2030, my bad, 2036. So how will these temperatures affect us and effects with humidity?
I think it'll be minimal effective. I don't know. I'm looking at 74% or 74 degrees with 80% chance. That's pretty high humidity. So we can slow them down, make it feel a lot hotter than it is.
Yep.
Not too sure about that.
Gonna might make the cold feel colder as well because it's like cold and wet.
So during daytime, humidity is high, we'd be moving slow due to the high temperatures. At nighttime, we'll try to move faster due to the fact that we're colder, but the temperatures are right for, and we're wet. So the troops will be miserable and motivation will be low due to temperatures and hurt soldiers' morale. And this is all for your interpretation. And this is knowing your troops. Right? Okay. How would temperatures affect the enemy? At nighttime, they'll seek shelter. They'll seek shelter when rain comes. During daytime, since used to the weather, they'll be moving around out there due to they're comfortable with the temperatures, right? Or some. It's, yeah. Okay, someone answer this one for friendly effects with cloud cover.
To limit your ability to get air support.
Right, yeah, because helicopters, right? Because we're expecting rain, right? How will it affect the enemy? Somebody?
Well, the cloud cover will make it a lot darker at night, so it can reduce their visibility.
Yeah, because it's going to be super dark at nighttime because we have zero loom and we got cloud cover. So movement's going to be like you're holding on to the person in front of you to make sure you guys are going the right way for no breaking contact, right? Okay. How will that 80% chance of rain affect the troops?
If we're going to like low-lying areas, we might want to be careful about like what creeks flood and whatnot, and what areas flood.
Yep. Watch for flash floods, So mobility and low ground expect higher water table due to 80% chance of rain and flash floods possible. But it will improve our surprise attack on the enemy due to that if we sound we'll use the rain to mask our movement sound. Okay. How will appreciation or lack of it affect the enemy's mobility, dismount it, or mount it to reaction time?
It might slow their reaction time down, Master, mainly because they'll be seeking shelter during times of rain. So they'll be more stationary as opposed to moving.
Roger. So you guys see right here when you look at weather, you look at enemy. This is what you're doing for weather for your op order for planning. What you're going to talk through, how it affects you, and how it affects the enemy. And you're talking about visibility, winds, temperatures, cloud cover. So weather, yes, in a warning order, you're reading right off the top. You're reading this area right here, right, in your warning order. Down here, this is your off order time. Right now, and we're in a situation right now. Understood?
Yes, Master.
Okay. So I'm going to stop there at step 3 before I burn you guys out. I don't want.
So quick poll, so the SMI can take a drink and get another dip in or something. Is this beneficial to you guys? Is this good for? I mean, or are you expecting something else? Or what do you want to concentrate on? Maybe this is too redundant for you. I know it's free chicken for the new MS3s that are plugged in right now. But what do you guys open up to you guys for comments, questions, etc.?
I think hitting up this stuff again is beneficial for us, even if it's kind of dry at some points. But man, even it's helping me. So.
Okay, is there something that, so I know we have the plan based off some other things that we need to go. Is there other stuff that you guys want to see other than what was the do you have that slide from the beginning of what we're gonna go over? You still have that one?
Which
It was
one?
like the classes for the next 3 weeks or 4 weeks, right? Next
Yeah.
4 iterations.
Yeah, I gotta find it.
So look, when the master pulls that up, you guys take a look at it. See, let us know if there's something else you want to see other than that. Because I know you guys have been away from it for a while. So there we go. Is there something else you want to see more than that, or do you want to concentrate on something different? Let us know. You don't have to answer that now, but maybe Barnes, you can screenshot that and put it up to the class. We can talk about 1300. Yeah.
So that stuff came from the class. That slide came from the class. That's the stuff that they said they wanted to see.
Okay.
So online, I'm just letting you guys know these classes are a lot longer. But this class alone, even in person, when we teach Ranger students and we teach, it's not a 1 day class. I mean, it's not a like you get it right there and then. We do. This is a 4-hour block of class. The 2-hour class is just a warning order, and then we do another 40 hours or 4 hours of the off order part, right? Then we go to the base and then we go do hands on. So I know, and it's just we go into a lot of detail on there, you know, and we're trying to get understanding the ambushes, the raid, and all that stuff. They're going to be in the op order because the best way that we can teach it online is our actions on sketch. You know, our concept sketches. We're going to go through the same thing. So we can continue doing op order and repeating op order, and we go through the concept sketches for your op order until we can get in person and you guys can actually go out there on your own and walk through it if you guys can get enough people. You know? So I don't know if that was a little bit too much deep for a coca for you guys. Or too much in the warning order, or too much in the weeds, because we're still in the middle of MET-TC doing our analysis to create our concept, our scheme maneuver. But this will apply to every category, every paragraph that you have. This information that you're gathering will affect your service. it will affect your communications, right? For your freaks, you know, how that you guys caught that about how the weather downgrades your radio system, how it affects your enemy situation, how the enemy affects you, and what their capabilities are out there. Because yes, on paper, you know, the S2 says something, but they're not putting in effect that time group that you're hitting the enemy. They don't see the weather. They don't know what's out there for the terrain. They're not doing that analysis that you're doing because you're about to be troops on the ground. They do a mass area. They don't come down to the platoon location that you're fighting in. So, fine with us stopping at that page right there? Because next would be troop service and support and availability and time available. And you guys can go ahead. The narrator pieces that I'm reading off of is right there in the inside of the folder that you guys can review ahead of time. Okay, I gave you guys the answer, and that's why I said if you guys are doing a narrator piece and we comment in to help you guys are going to understand it a lot better than if I'm just reading to you guys or talking about it. Because I'm giving you guys the key, the detailed answers to it. Just open up the book, open up the folder, and read through it before we get to this point. And I can go right to the questions, or we can put our ad in to you guys. And you guys are doing peer-to-peer teaching to it. And you guys read better than I do.
Or we can assign it to a couple of cadets to read to everybody. That might work better.
I'm not all right no more. I don't have this memorized by heart, the script.
Hey, Master.
Yes, sir.
How about you? I see Click's note on his recommendation on doing brief exercises. Perhaps assigning each of them one day, and they each dial 15 minutes prior to the class. I don't know, 15, 20 minutes, whatever planning factor you need. You brief them in order, and then they turn around and brief it to the class at the beginning or at the end. Doesn't matter, to see how they do.
You guys ready to go? You have the original Opords right from before? So we'll use.
Uh-oh. Church just got tighter.
Do you guys want to do that? The other option is each person takes the script and you guys break it down, right? I did the first portion, and then you guys complete the talk through with the narrator piece, and we listen and we add in some stuff for you guys if you guys have questions on it. Or we can finish this by you guys doing your teaching, the Opord narrator piece, and then we go back to your briefs, you guys refine them, and then we go through the pitching the orders.
I think having us teach it's a good idea, Master.
And then go back to pitch later on, right? I mean, that's what we can do a combination of both. We finish the op order brief, right? The class by peer teaching, and then we go through, and then we just don't use the 09 on Fridays. We look at when people are ready to pitch, you know? Looking at that Monday time frame and Friday time frame. It's how involved you guys want to be. So Mondays and Fridays are open for us. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday are our days for Agile Leader Planning. So you guys let us know, and then you guys can definitely today in the huddle at 1300, bring it to your peers. You know, if an MS3 wants to jump on there and take a piece of the narrator piece, by all means, let them, you know, because some of your peers aren't going to get on here and try to learn, you know, or they just work too much. So I'll let you guys figure it out. I think the category, you guys got anything else? Mr. Howard, Major Rose, Camisero?
No, I don't have anything. Hey, just for the cadet leadership, I sent you a couple emails during this brief. We're going over some of the stuff we can talk about at 1300. You know, the dorms, which you talked about earlier, and then we need to update everybody's status on SIFT, where they are. Have they taken it? I know that the bosses signed several forms, and then stuff from there. And I also sent out another thing on class registration. That's due back to me next week. If people who's registered for class, who's not registered for class, and if they're not, what's the issue? I sent you out a little format.